is Boaty McBoaty, and I do live streams for people on a professional basis. It's Monday Night Live!
Name's Roger Boaty. Mr. George Roger Boaty.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Boaty, and this is my hat. Hello. God, I haven't seen you forever. How are you, my lovelies? I'm going to throw my hat at you and see if I can get it right on top. Hold on. I'm getting ready to fling. Oh, what a shot! What a shot! I did it! Yay! Fucking hell. Oh, great success. Arguably not the most professional thing to do in a broadcast environment, but nonetheless, I mean, full points to me. That was an absolutely splendid shot. Got that fucking... I deserve 10,000 subscribers for that moment alone. How are you, darlings? It's an absolute joy to be here with you, and I've missed you terribly, awfully. It's been terrible. Actually, it's been, I have genuinely missed you, but it hasn't really been terrible. I've got some stuff done. I've caught up with some things, and over the weekend, I had a lot of fun, and I saw Steve, and there will be a jolly good video. Well, I hope it's going to be a jolly good video. I mean, to be completely honest with you, I haven't started editing it yet. I will start tomorrow morning, shortly after toast, and probably during... probably towards the end of coffee number 1, certainly before coffee number 2. I intend to crack on with it. But I've had a look at some of the footage. This is from Saturday, and myself and my friend Steve, who is a very tall person. He makes me look diminutive. We look a bit like Peter Cook and Dudley Moore, except that he looks nothing like Peter Cook and I look nothing like Dudley Moore. But there is a height difference, that's what I'm trying to say. I mean, work with me here, people. I'm out of practice at this. And, yeah, 2 exceptionally large men drove a very, very small left-hand drive car with virtually nothing that worked. No synchro on the gears. The brakes were Well, anyway, you'll see. You will see, you will see, you will see, you will see. And what I'm going to do at this moment in time, I'm going to crack on with seeing who's here and welcoming you individually with a deep and almost despotic level of sincerity. Because, lesson in life, my loves, once you've mastered the art of faking sincerity, you're well on your way to a jolly successful love. I'm going to have a slurp of wine. I haven't had a slurp of wine as yet. Don't worry, it's not frozen because I actually forgot to put it in the freezer tonight. I've done it now, but it's only been in there for about 10 seconds. So it's definitely not going to be frozen. In fact, I'll tell you what I'll do, because that's going to be too warm, isn't it? I will deploy, so I keep forgetting I've got these. I will deploy the incredibly thoughtful birthday present that somebody was kind enough to give me. These little chaps here, these refreezable, whatever you call them, icy cubies. Now, I don't approve of ice cubes in wine, of course I don't. But needs must when the devil farts up your nose. Actually, do you know what they should be really nice in? Here's a question for you. Imagine it's a nice summer's day. Go on, imagine it. Imagine it, I dare you. And imagine that you're sitting on your lawn or, you know, perhaps in a pub by a river. There's a very nice pub by a river near me. And it's up for lease. And I would rather like to take it on. Yes, I would. I would like to do that. It's a lovely pub. But imagine you're sitting in that situation. What would your drink of choice be? That's my question to you. It's probably not my only question to you, but it is a question. And, you know, we've got to start somewhere, haven't we? And I quite like a white wine spritzer on a hot day, except, and this is where I'm going to sound most awfully working class and chavvy, I preferred it with diet lemonade than with soda water, which is what a spritzer should have. But in that situation, I think that ice is perfectly acceptable. I think that is a situation where having iced wine is a perfectly socially, legally, and morally acceptable thing. I can't believe I threw my hat at you, and I absolutely nailed it. Now, if we were at a fair, right, and I'd done something like that, I'd have won a teddy bear. I demand that somebody sends me a teddy bear. I don't, actually. I don't need a teddy bear. Now then, what was I going to do? Oh, I was going to welcome people with deep and meaningful sincerity, wasn't I? I was going to, because it's been a while, I was going to welcome you all individually. So, I'm going to begin by welcoming underscore. Oh, I still haven't had a slurp of my wine. I've introduced underscore individually, personally, and with a deep level of incredible sincerity, and I haven't had a slurp of my wine. So I'm going to have to stop talking. Cheers, my darlings. Up yours. I've missed you like mad, and I'm so glad to be back. Oh, now. Oh, now. Nothing wrong with that, my lovelies. Nothing wrong with that at all. And the next to be welcomed individually and with a high level of sincerity is the one and only Mr. Should I go a bit further with this? Shall I not only welcome you but say something nice about you or appreciative? Let's go back to underscore. Welcome, Matt, and thank you for everything that you've done and continue to do. Yeah, that's a nice thing, isn't it? Jimmy Quinn, welcome to Jimmy Quinn. Thank you for welcoming me back, and thank you for all of your marvellous support. Steve Cole, we welcome you, and thank you for being here. Thank you for every time that you come. the one and only Mr. George Roger Boaty, who said, we welcome you, and thank you for being Mr. Roger Boaty, Mr. George Roger Boaty. Should try and do it in, somebody called Ben Cooper has sent me a friend request. That's interesting, isn't it? Are you watching, Ben? I'll attend to that after the doings. But no, I can't do Mr. Roger Boaty. The name's Roger Boaty, Mr. George Roger Boaty. I can't do it as well as he does. Nobody does Mr. Roger Boaty quite as well as Mr. Roger Boaty. I imagine that the walls of Roger Bottingham mansions are literally ringing out with the sound of housekeepers being spanked with wooden spoons. Chaz Brown, welcome to you, and thank you for making me laugh with your comments about the Onionator. Simone, thank you for turning up and then immediately pissing off because you need to be at work at 7:30 a.m. And thank you for being the best presenter on YouTube. Who else can I welcome? Captain Mustard. Welcome, Captain Mustard of Project Nigel, one of our community channels. And thank you for everything that you've done, and thank you for making me 2 cups of coffee today, and thank you for paying for lunch. KKC, good evening and welcome to you. Thank you for all the support. Trace, the Greenwood, one of our community channels, except the channel is called something else and I can't remember what it's called. The Greenwood Spanking Kylie or something like that. But Trace, thank you. Simon is here. Project MGTF, another one of our community channels. And I welcome you, Simon. And I would like to thank you also for all of your support and all the help that you've given and all the wonderful things that you continue to do. Mr. Ben 747. It's never less than a virtually orgasmic joy to have Mr. Ben 747 with us. What a tremendous combination of children's television character and large passenger carrying or cargo carrying jet airliner. And the last 747, my dear friend Pingu Concord sent me a link to show that the last 747 has rolled off the production line. If you didn't realise, 747s are made just outside Llandudno in North Wales. And the last one has rolled off the production line and gone into service with somebody or other. So that's wonderful, isn't it? Mike, welcome, Mike. That's Classic Wheels, Classic Wit. You're going to have to change your channel name, Mike. I can't get my old chops around it. Mike of Classic Wheels. Wait, you see, you just have to take it slowly. There's always a way. You don't run at it. Don't go at it like a bull in a china shop. Trying to pronounce Mike's channel reminds me of the tale of the 2 bulls, the old wise bull and the young eager bull. And the young eager bull says, let's run into that field of cows and do one of them. And the old wiser one says, no, let's stroll into that field of cows and do all of them. And that's how you have to approach Mike's channel name. But the point is that he's very welcome. And particularly this evening, as we had a very enjoyable telephone conversation. And it was nice to hear a voice from home, South Wales. He made me laugh a lot. We need to meet up, Mike. One of these Mondays. Right, who else can I welcome? John Maruzzi. Maruzzi. Anyway, John, you're very welcome, and thank you for all of your support. Don't whine your freeze, I won't. Liz is here. Jabberwocky 220. Good to eat. And I would like to welcome you, Liz, and I would like to thank you also for being such a wonderful Liz and supplying coffee and French fancies and supporting these ludicrous broadcasts. I'm going to welcome Ivor Spotty Botty, one of our friends from the Antipodes, who's probably on a smoko and will probably have to bugger off very shortly. I'm possibly the world's tallest midget. Yeah, quite possibly. Winslow Burdett, welcome to you. And thank you. Thank you for your comments and your support. Sincerity, what else can you face on Valentine's Day? I can fake anything. I thought that was a plastic tub of frozen garlic he was putting in his mouth. No, it wasn't. 24 cans of Dr. Pepper. Oh, and Liz is here twice. That's nice. Don't drink all the profits if you lease the pub, says I'll be Spider Buddy. That is not the problem with me leasing the pub. The problem with me leasing the pub is I have a minus amount of money. I don't have no money. I have minus money, otherwise known as an overdraft. And the gods of the overdraft are not smiling upon me at the moment. Not sure anyone can talk about spritzer and be chavvy. Leasing a Tide pub is a mucks game? Probably. That's probably why so many are up for what's it? I don't want a hello, I want an insult. They're coming later. I was getting Boaty withdrawal symptoms. Oh, that's rather nice. Oh yeah, I was right. I was about to finish his smoko and he hopes that we all have a great night. I'm sure we will. Right, an update on the Greenwood, one of our community channels. My channel, well, it began with LOL, which means lots of love, of course. So Trace is sending us all lots of love, and that's nice. My channel is the Greenwood, and that's in capital letters. So actually, my channel is the Greenwood. Since it was pointed out that no one could find it under the other name. Glad you spoke to Mike, says Mustard. Bet it was a great conversation. Yeah, we talked a lot about you, mate. It was nice to share the frustration. And he's known you for more than twice as long as I have. He's had more than a double portion of mustard. Bad Books, we welcome you and we thank you and we are grateful for you. Good evening, Boaty, and all. Good evening to you. And bugger me, I've caught up. I've actually caught up. Stone me. Mustard says, I would love a great big get together and drink with all you chaps. Don't be sexist. There are some chapesses here as well. And he wants chapatis as well. And I second that. It's more than time that we all met up. Oh, and before I continue, I must give a shout out to a splendid gentleman by the name of Gareth. Now, he doesn't speak with a Welsh accent, but Gareth is a name that should always be spoken with a Welsh accent. Don't ask me why, it's just the law. But he went to the yard this morning to see Mustard. And because, Mustard is pretty much these days a fairly major celebrity. I think we all know that. And so, yeah, he flocked to the yard to see Mustard. And as he was there at around the 12:30 mark, rather than bugger off, he thought he might as well hang around and meet me as well. Seeing as, he wouldn't have made a special journey to meet me. Why would he? Why would anybody? But he was prepared to hang around a little bit longer in order to meet me. And that was very nice. I was enormously flattered. And I was incredibly pleased that he brought me a gift which is now, unlike the other gifts, this gift is actually in the caravan. It's waiting visitors. When you rock up to the caravan, you have a choice now of Tunnock's caramel wafers. Well, you did have when we left. You might not have tomorrow, but you might have a choice of less, because I imagine that Mustard is going to get his chops around them. He'll probably put Dijon mustard on them or some disgraceful act like that. No food is safe when Mustard is around. But that's okay. That's okay. It's there to be shared. So if you rock up to the yard at any point, do insist on gaining entrance to Mr. George Rogerbottom and having a good old nibble. And I will be adding to the caravan stocks with the other wonderful and thoughtful gifts that some of you lovely people have given to me. So there will be the remaining French fancies on their way, some delicious French biscuits. There will be an emergency French beef pot noodle. And there won't be any wine. There won't be any wine. I'm keeping the wine here. I'm keeping it for a slightly special occasion, somewhere around spring, I think. Now then, Bad Books asks, is anybody going to the Practical Classics Restoration Show, which is taking place from the 24th to the 26th of March? Well, I can answer that. Yes, Ian Seabrook, aka Hubnut, is going. And his intended Miss Hubnut, tricky chaps' names, Miss Hubnut, soon at some point to be Mrs. Hubnut. I believe they will be going. You need a bigger caravan. We need to get some use out of the caravan that we've got. Right. Oh, could you now? Oh, did you? Oh, is it? Oh, will you? Marvellous. Oh, now then. NEC doesn't exist. It's corporate sponsors crap arena. Oh, right. Okay. Well, I can say for a fact that the NEC used to exist. Because I have been there on more than one occasion. The first time I went to the NEC was to the Classic Motor Show thing, where I took a stand. I don't mean that I stood on a point of principle and clung to it. I mean, I took a stand thing and put a car on it. Can we please welcome the first belch of tonight's live stream? Thank you. And I remember very well the drive to the NEC in that car. It was a one-off car. It was a rebodied something or other with like a 1940s type body put on it that was built by some people at, I think, Bristol University. It was enormous fun to drive. It didn't have a roof or anything like that. And it also didn't have a windscreen. And I discovered that driving at motorway speeds without a windscreen, when you're not wearing goggles, is a highly precarious thing to do. But yeah, I enjoyed that very much. So that was one time I was at the NEC. And the other time I was at the NEC, and this is arguably more impressive, I was the headline act at a show there. Yes, I headlined at the NEC. I actually sang. Now, I will admit that it was one of the smaller halls, but I didn't mention that on my theatrical resume. It just said something along the lines of headlined at the NEC, and then I put my prices up. Harsh. Is it called Marion if it's his maiden birth? That's not bad, actually. That's not a bad one, Matt. So, well, I'm doing jolly well. I've caught up on the comments. We've been going for 24 minutes already, and there are 26 people watching. This is almost as successful as one of Mustard's live streams, although it's not quite, of course. So, what have I got to tell you? Well, I've got to drink some wine. That's what I've got to do. And we need to launch some features, don't we? Do you wear a hat? Which of your feet is the bigger? Would you rather spank somebody or be spanked? Should it be illegal to eat Chinese food with Western cutlery? Should you only be allowed to eat Chinese food if you eat it with chopsticks? Now, I'm firmly in favour of that. I'm firmly in favour of that. Oh, you know what we could talk about? Right. I can't remember if I've spoken to you about this before. I probably have. Right. Yes. Now then. I've got an idea that I may have mentioned to you before, but we're going to talk about it again if I have. And my idea is called the Prod Squad. And it would be a nationwide set of highly trained and motivated volunteers who would be equipped with fairly substantial, fairly hefty electric cattle prods. And they would roam around society, and when they witnessed something that wasn't illegal, wasn't a crime, but also wasn't in keeping with the decent chap rule, somebody doing something that a decent chap shouldn't do, sitting down on public transport when an elderly person is forced to stand, wearing their jeans halfway around their buttocks so that either their underpants and or their buttock cleft is showing. That sort of thing. When they encounter that in the street, they administer an electric shock with their cattle prod to show the miscreant the error of their ways by delivering that short, sharp shock. And I would like to know, I would like your examples of things that are not crimes, are not illegal, are not against any rules, but that you think are prod worthy. Just to point out that I would be in full control of this nationwide set of volunteers, and I would work from my own office with a great big desk, wooden but with leather inlay, and I would have a series of differently coloured electric telephones which I would utilise to help keep things going. And I would be known, my lovelies, as the mighty prodster. So, yeah, tell me, well, all of the other things that I just said that I can't remember. Do you have a napkin with your meals? Do you have a linen napkin with every meal? On Sundays only? On special occasions only? Or never at all? And do you possess any napkin rings? We still need to talk about gravy boats. Have you recently been persuaded by me and our community to deploy a gravy boat in the correct fashion? And then I'm going to tell you about some of the stuff that I've been up. Well, you can guess what I've been up to today. I have been to the Yard of Dreams, and amongst other things, we had a smooth driving challenge. So there's going to be a video coming of us doing a smooth driving challenge. You can imagine how that went. Has anybody seen Tasty Classics on YouTube? I haven't, but I imagine some people have. They put an ambassador back on the road in 14 days. I could do it in 14 minutes. If the ambassador was on a field, but it was good firm ground and the ambassador had good tyres, I could drive it back onto the road within 14 minutes. So, to be honest, if it took them 14 days, then they're kind of amateurs. And no offence to them, they've probably got a really good YouTube channel going. They're probably much more successful than I am. God almighty. I've known performing goldfish that are more successful than I am. But On that occasion, I could beat them. So there we are. And I do have ambassadorial experience because, as you know, my first car was a silver Ambassador 2-litre HLS, name Arnold, registration FFD 526Y. Or if you would like it in whatever you call it, that's Foxtrot Foxtrot Delta 526 Yankee. Although, now in the days before the internet, when you were a car dealer, and I was, I need to tell you, Irish Tony died this morning. I'll talk about Irish Tony in a little while, because he deserves to be remembered. He was one of those larger than life characters that you couldn't make up. You couldn't write him as a character in a doings. You had to experience the man to. He was like a force of nature, was Tony, and I was very fond of him. But what was I talking about? Oh yeah, in the days before the internet, when you wanted to HPI a car as a car dealer, you had to ring up. And if you were a busy car dealer, and I was, ladies and gentlemen, you would be doing that really quite often. It would be a frequent part of your day. And when you have to do something quite frequently, and it's a relatively mundane thing, then it can become somewhat wearisome, tiresome, irksome, boring. So to spice it up, instead of using the proper, I keep wanting to say Cyrillic, and of course it's not Cyrillic at all. That's something to do with Greek alphabet or some such. Mike, you'll know what Cyrillic means. You can tell me. Or is it Russian? Is it the Russian alphabet that's in Cyrillic? Or is it something to do with Cyril? Do you remember Cyril of That's Life? Yeah, I used to love Cyril. Cyril, I'm indebted to a gentleman from Swansea who wrote to tell me that his entire television constantly features a camp old twat. Well, all I have to say to you is this has nothing to do with me. Do you remember him? Do you remember Cyril off That's Life? And there was also, of course, there was Doc Cox. How did he get away with it? I don't know what his real name is, but of course, at the time that he appeared on That's Life as Doc Cox, his other alter ego was Ivor Biggin. Ivor Biggin. And if you've never listened to Ivor Biggin, then you have missed out on a treat. I mean, if you want to listen to something that's not too naughty, then Google or YouTube search for Ivor Biggin, the Charabanc Trip. If you listen to some of his other stuff, oh, what could I recommend? Dorothy, please trim your minge. That was a classic. Dorothy, please trim your minge. Won't you cut your fanny fringe? Your pubic hair makes me despair. Kindly cut that thing down there. There of course was the no, I won't sing that one. I'll get taken off the air. Bum hooligan, bum club, chamois leather, whalebone corset, belly button, gym slip, bum hooligan. Why am I talking about Ivor Biggin? Oh yeah, because of That's Life. Why was I talking about That's Life? Oh, Cyril, the camp old twat. That's right. Why was I talking about Cyril? Oh, Cyrillics. That's right. I remember now. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Now, in the days before the internet, keep talking long enough, it'll come back to you. It always does. You know, there's only so much space in there. You've just got to work it through. It'll come back. So, in the days before the internet, when you used to have to ring up to HPI cars, and it got boring, then, and I'm sure everybody else did this, I'm sure it wasn't just me, instead of using the correct Foxtrot Delta, I would come up with the most disgusting words that I could possibly, and it was always a woman on the other end of the phone, you know, and it's, you used to fall in love with these women sometimes. They sounded all young and hot and frisky, you know. There were probably a 72-year-old woman called Olive who lived in a bungalow in Barnsley. Nothing against 72-year-old women living in bungalows in Barnsley, whether they're called Olive or anything else. I like olives. Do you like olives? I prefer Susans. Anyway, and so yeah, I used to come up with disgusting words, and it used to amuse me. Some of the stuff I used to get up to there. I set up a sex chat line once. I used to have a telesales team that worked between 6 and 10, and they were all very attractive women. And it's a heartbreaking job doing telesales, and I really felt for them. I felt them as well, all of them, in fact. But that's not the point. I did feel for them doing the job. And I tried to break it up a bit for them and make it more interesting. So we used to do silly things. I took out a premium line telephone number and put it in the small ads in the newspaper, as it was then, for all of the, you know, all of the sex bits where all of the hookers advertise and whatnot. And in the telephone call bits, I put a picture of a bird with massive knockers, and it said, "Hear me moan." And customers rang up this number, and my telesales team, you've left the toilet seat down again, and why do you never help me with the dinner? And that garden needs doing out there. This isn't what I paid for. I'm moaning, aren't I? Shut up. And what else did I do? Celebrity sex lines, where I got them to impersonate really badly famous people. So you could get your rocks off to Mrs. Thatcher talking dirty. Oh, I used to ring up friends and family. My mother, at the age of, I don't know, about 56 or something, she had a lifelong fear of water, having fallen into a canal or a river when she was a kid. And as such, she couldn't swim. And my mum, being my mum, in her late 50s, took on the challenge of learning to swim and took herself off on a week's residential course of doing not internal and not infernal, an intensive swim thing. And she came out of this week being able to swim a bit. And she went to the local bath and actually did a width. And she went with my Auntie Sue, who was also a notoriously weak swimmer. And she was so proud of herself, so proud of her. And I was proud of her too, bless her. But the next day, I got Zoe, oh, the lovely Zoe, Zoodle Twips, probably my favourite member of the telesales team, certainly the one that I slept with the most often. And I got her to ring both Auntie Sue first and then Mum, posing as a journalist from the Fit 50s Female magazine. And saying that that, you know, they were fighting the public perception of females in their 50s being fucked up and good for nothing, and saying that they were putting together a 26-person cross-channel swimming relay. And would my mother and my Auntie Sue on a different phone call be interested in in taking one of the relay spots and swimming a mile across the channel? And it was taking place in 2 weeks' time. And my mother, God love her, said, yes, absolutely yes. I can only do a width at the moment, but that's 2 weeks away. And I'm utterly confident that I will be more than capable of swimming a mile in open waters in the freezing English Channel. Oh, God love her, she fell for it, hook, line and sinker. And she wasn't angry when she found out it was a joke. She was actually disappointed that she wasn't going to get to, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. We used to have fun. We used to have a lot of fun on those 6 to 10 shifts with the telesales girls. I wonder what they're all up to now. Oh dear, they're absolutely fabulous. I gave them a script to work off, and I'll tell you how they got me back. I used to play jokes on them all the time. I used to ring in using different voices from a different office. And I used to get mates to ring in, winding them up terribly. Because, of course, they used to answer the phone because they'd try and call somebody, leave a message on an answering machine or something. You know, this is when landlines were the thing. And they'd often get called back. So, you know, they'd answer the phone, ready to do their telesales spiel that I'd written for them. And I'd ring in and I'd get mates to ring in, winding them up. Well, they properly got me back one time, didn't they? And it was the first time, I better check my wine. It was the first, hang on, what's that? Is that interesting? Oh, no, don't do that. Hang on. Oh no, it's not interesting at all. I wasted so much time looking at that, and it's not interesting. The first time that I took Zoe out, she was very resistant to my alleged charms. She had me down. I'll tell the truth. I won't lie to you people. She had me down as what would now be called a player. And she had no interest in being another notch added to my bedpost, whatever you say. But the thing was, I really liked her. Really liked her. And it took me ages to convince her to go out with me. And the first time that I took her out, no, it was the second time actually. First time nothing happened. Second time she spent the night at my place. And I got a phone call the next day at the garage during working hours from the most aggressive guy that you've ever heard in your life. Terrifying sort of guy, proper gangster, you know. And working as I did, I knew the difference between a wannabe hard case and an actual hard case. And this guy had fucking hard case written all through him. Just his voice, his phrasing, his this, that and the other. He sounded like a pro beater-upper. And he very kindly let me know that he was Zoe's boyfriend and that she'd been spotted coming out of my place this morning. And then he spoke at great length about what he was going to do to me. And I didn't like the sound of any of it, to be completely honest with you. None of it sounded very pleasurable. All of the things that he was going to do to me were incredibly unpleasant, and he sounded very capable of doing them. And I put on a bit of an act of bravado and sort of said, well, thanks for the warning. I'll make sure that I've got my shotgun ready. He sounded like the sort of guy that would take more than a bloody shotgun. And then as soon as he put the phone down, then I immediately shat myself copiously and continued shitting myself for a considerable period of time. In fact, I shat myself throughout the day. I made a couple of phone calls, and everybody I spoke to were largely unsympathetic. Turned out a lot of people thought me being half killed would be quite amusing. And in the end, I got hold of my old man, who, for anybody who doesn't know, my old man was, you know, as scaredy dudes go, my old man was top of the tree. Come round to my place when you've finished work and don't leave me, Daddy, I'm scared. And yeah, oh God almighty, I was genuinely frightened. And of course, when the telesales girls came in, and I grabbed hold of Zoe. I've been ringing Zoe all day. Oh, that was the other thing I said during the telephone call. Because what he'd said to me, and it was the only thing that got me going, he said, I've been round and I've sorted her out, and you're next. And that was the bit that got the bravado bit in me. Because I said, if you fucking hurt her, son, I'll have your legs off. By which I meant not me personally. I'd pay somebody bigger and stronger to do it. But I've been trying to get hold of Zoe all day. Couldn't get hold of her. And when she rocked up for work, the bitch, when she rocked up for work, they'd made her up. Her and the pals had put makeup on. So it looked as if she was bruised, she was cut, she had her arm in a sling, and she walked in and my heart just dropped. And I'm thinking, well, I'll tell you the truth, I can't remember exactly what I was thinking, but knowing me, my initial thought would have been, I'm going to have that bastard killed. And my second thought was, help, he's going to do even worse to me. That's what he's done to a girl. What's he going to do to me? Jesus Christ, where's my daddy? Where's my daddy? And of course, they kept it up for about 3/4 an hour, which is more than I could do that night, I can tell you, before they let me in that it was all a fucking wind up. It was all a fucking wind up. Dear God. Oh, talk about getting me back. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh, I haven't thought about that for ages. God above. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Bless her. Oh, the lovely Zoe. And she hated anything that was like show-offy. When we went out, we had to go in her car, which was a Fiesta XR2. And I remember, first time we went out, it had the Alanis Morissette album playing, probably on cassette in those days. Would have been cassette, wouldn't it? And there's a song on that album that I still play now, and it takes me back to being in the car with Zoe on that first date. And I was so excited. I was mad about her, absolutely mad about her. And the one song gets me to this day, and it's, oh, and now I can't remember it, can I? How fucking typical is that? Oh, Head Over Feet. Head Over Feet. I love that song. And it was the first time I'd heard it sitting in that car and listening to the lyrics. And it was just so bang on, because I'd really struggled to get that girl to go out with me. But she hated anything flash. And her mother, she was from London, and her mother was coming up to see her, and they were going to the clothes show together at the NEC. So the mother was coming up to stay the weekend. So on the Friday night, I said, I'll take you both out for a meal. And she said, if you turn up in a flash car, we're not going. I said, right, okay. So off I went that Friday night to a flat. In what was my everyday card at the time, a Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow 2. And she opened the door and she said, we're not going in that. Mum, we're not going. I told him not to, he's brought, and the mother said, well, what's the matter? And she said, oh, are we going in that? I said, well, yeah, that was the idea. Brilliant. So Mum was all for it. Zoe hated it. Eventually she got in. Eventually. Not happy about it at all. And I took them to this really, really nice Indian restaurant. And me and the mum got on great. I always got on well with girlfriends' parents. It was the girlfriend that I had trouble with. And all I can remember about that is that at the end of the meal, they brought around on a nice china plate a hot sanitized flannel wrapped in, what's it called? Begins with a stu. You know, a sealed wrap thing. And anyway, Mum thought it was a dessert and went trying to tuck into it with a spoon. Oh dear, happy days. Let's catch up with some comments, shall we? Random question, Boaty, says Liz. Have you ever eaten spaghetti bolognese with chopsticks? No. Why would you? Why would anybody attempt to do that? Well, I eat noodles with chopsticks, so I suppose it's not all that different, but no. I've categorically never eaten spaghetti bolognese with chopsticks. And unless it was for a bet or to raise money for charity, I don't think I ever will. I don't own a hat, says Trace. What the hell was the second question? No idea, can't remember. I've genuinely forgotten because he started talking about spanking and Chinese food. Simon says, I have recently lost a woolly bobble hat. I thought I'd left it in a car, but I can't find it anywhere. Oh, a hidden message. Let's show this. Oh, feet, says Trace. My right foot is biggest, but my left boob is biggest. Well, at least that balances you up, Trace, so that in a high wind, you'd be relatively stable with the additional weight on both sides. Although, of course, low centre of gravity for your foot, high centre of gravity for your boob. So you'd be more susceptible to falling over in the direction of your biggest boob, which is your left. So if any of us had to bet on which way Tracy would fall over, then always go left. Prod Squad already exists. It's what coppers use a taser for. But this is a bit different. I mean, coppers don't tase people for not giving up a seat to an elderly pensioner. We're talking a lower level that, well, I mean, you know, they'll probably tase you for being black. Are you allowed to say that? Are police still intrinsically racist? Well, yes, they are. Boaty, you started the stream wearing a bucket hat. You can't comment on the youths in jeans. I bloody can. And it's not a bucket hat, whatever that is. That is a very expensive hat that I bought from a very expensive hat shop. I was married at the time, and we went to this very expensive shop. And I saw this very expensive hat. And I thought, I like this hat. This hat is very much the cut of my jib. And my wife said, please don't buy the hat. And I said, I'm going to buy this hat. And my wife went and offered money to the sales assistant not to allow me to buy the hat. But I bought it anyway, and I love it. And it's class. Oh, PWD, says Mustard. Prodworthy doings. Yes. That is what this feature is called. Prodworthy doings, PWDs. Give me your example of PWDs, please. Bad Books wears a baseball cap when driving roof down in the UNOS. And a UNOS, for those who don't know, is the imported version of the Mazda MX-5. And in Series 1 form, it was worth importing them if you were after certain things. Things that weren't available on a Series 1 MX-5 UK version. You couldn't get power steering, you couldn't get leather upholstery, and you couldn't get air conditioning. Why would you need air conditioning in a convertible? Trust me, you do. Especially if you're driving in very hot climates. There will be occasions when you're driving slowly in traffic and it is too damn hot. And you want the roof up, you want the windows up, and you want that air conditioning on. I've got no idea why I'm doing this. Oh, and Mustard follows up with his own PWD, not putting your shopping trolley away. I completely agree with you there. Anybody who doesn't put their shopping trolley away deserves a prod. Absolutely, 100%. I own napkin rings, says Trace, and gravy boats, but no linen napkins. Well, what do you put in your napkin rings? Your husband's willy? Okay. I had to rescue a trolley from the front of my car the other week, says Simon. Took Tesco 8 days to come and collect it back to the store. What? You drove home with a trolley attached to the front of your car, Simon? Napkin ring, says KKC. I don't even have a cock ring. What's the point of a cock ring? Boo bought me one. I think I've still got it. I think it's in the dirty drawer upstairs. I've never opened the packet. It looked too small. It looked too small. Do they expand or something? I mean, it was like that. And whilst I don't have the biggest penis in the world, it's bigger than that. Are they supposed to be really tight? Do they expand or something? And what are they for? I've got absolutely no idea. PWD, says Trace, wearing a mask and removing it to cough. Absolute, well, I mean, what a stupid thing to do. Yeah, anybody who do, and for that, I would put the prod on its highest setting. That is a code red. Best phonetic mishap heard at word. Y for wanky. Another PWD. Not apologising when you walk into me because you were looking right over my head because you were so tall and I'm so small in height. Well, yeah. Anybody who walks into you, or if they're looking at their phone or something like that, yeah, that's a prod. Oh God. Well, this is an image none of us needed. Roger Boaty. One loves to wear a beret in summer and stroll around the grounds of Roger Bottingham Manor wearing nothing else. What? God above. Cyrillic is a form of symbolic writing. Ukraine uses Cyrillic. Oh, well, that's probably why I know it, you know, what with living there and stuff. Another PWD from Mustard. Talking loudly on your mobile electric telephone whilst in Aldi. Well, or anywhere else. I mean, there are probably exceptions if you're reporting an emergency, but if you're in a checkout queue and being served and you're on your telephone, that is an immediate prod right up the arse. Liz also mentions that Cyrillic is a type of Greek alphabet. See, I knew it was Greek. I knew Greece was in there somewhere. PWB, D, being an oldie full stop. Oh, now there's an interesting one. That was from Simon. Do people in Aldi deserve a prod? No, they don't, I would say. Now, I completely understand that you would want to avoid people in Aldi, but I achieved that quite easily by never going to Aldi. So, no, they shouldn't be prodded. They should just be left alone to shop in Aldi while we go to Sainsbury's. Or Waitrose, if there's a Waitrose. Russian, says Mike. Cyril Fletcher. That's who it was, Cyril Fletcher. Thank you, Bad Books. I'm indebted to a gentleman from Swansea who wrote to tell me. I still love Cyril. No chance of freezing the wine, he's already drunk it all. No, I haven't. There's loads left. I've hardly had a dribble. I'm lost, says Simon, and slightly concerned that Boaty seems to fancy pottering everything. That's unfair. Where's that coming from? Oh, Boaty's new feature, Moswap, members of staff. That's a good feature, Moswap. Right, we're going to open MOSWAP up. MOSWAP is members of staff worth a poddering. So tell us about anybody who is a MOSWAP at your place of work. Who is there at your place of work who is very definitely worth a poddering? I'd like to hear about it. Oh, right, that's just people talking amongst themselves. A player? Did you used to balance records on your head or keep cassettes in your mouth? You wouldn't knock him back now. Who? I've lost track of what I said. I've definitely missed these lives, says Trace. I love laughing till I cry and then everything starts hurting. But I can't stop laughing, especially while Boaty's having a funny moment. I do have some funny moments. But these days they're funny peculiar rather than funny ha-ha. Did your mother used to say that, or was it just mine? There was funny peculiar, there was funny ha-ha and funny peculiar. The two types of funny. Maybe he keeps him in that cupboard there, brings him out at night, calls him Nighttime Reggie. Who are we talking about? Who did I knock back that was called Reggie and could now be living in this cupboard? Are you talking about me? Was Zoe worth it? Says KKC. Yes and no. Yes, but ultimately, no. Yeah, she was 100% totally worth it. She was a nice kid. She ended up defrauding me to get her ex out of shit with a drug dealer that he owed money to that was going to kill him, basically. And yeah, she did that, and I never saw or heard from her again. But for the time that we were together, yeah, totally. Oh, a message health review. How fabulous. And it's from Matt. Hang on a minute. I'm not reading that out, Matt. I'm not reading that out. Jagged Little Pill. That was the name of the album, wasn't it? I think. Yeah, it was the name of the track, but it was also the name of the album. I loved that song, Head Over Feet. Absolutely loved that song. And she was in a film, wasn't she, that Alanis Morissette? And she was podderable, wasn't she? Well and truly podderable. Can't remember what film she was in. Something about a devil. I think I was on my own in Wales when I watched that. So, has anybody heard any good stories recently? Any anecdotes people want to share? Well, yeah, do shout them out. Boaty has defo missed these live streams. A week's worth of talk has been unleashed. I had a job once, says Simon. Well done to you. Other people worked there. I came into work one day, then someone else came in as well. It was crazy times. Are you pissed? Hurry up and get successful again, says Mustard, so I can test drive your Bentley. Mike and I were talking about this, Mustard, and we have both reached a conclusion that in 5 years' time, having made no discernible serious effort and having not done any of the things that you're supposed to do, you will be a multi-millionaire. Well, we, the allegedly successful business people who do know what we're doing and have given you advice which you've steadfastly ignored, we'll still be poor and you will be the world's most famous YouTuber and incredibly rich, and we'll be after you for handouts. So I'm guessing that it's going to be me test driving your Bentley, mate. You parked a roller in Matchborough. I didn't realise you did MILFs. No, I didn't park a roller in Matchborough. She didn't live in Matchborough. She lived in, she lived somewhere in Birmingham. Oh God, I can tell you a story about that. Is there a statute of limitations on crimes? I dropped her home one night and I'd had too much to drink. as was usual, and I was driving back through Drake's Cross, not down the bypass. I was driving through Drake's Cross, that road there that went from the Kings Heathy type road, and came out at the Beckett's Farm Island, KKC. You'll know where I am. So I'm driving down there. I've just gone past the parade of shops, you know, the Drake's Cross parade of shops, which had a very good chippy there, I remember. And a police car came the other way. And watching my rear view mirror, I saw him do a turn in the road. And I'm well and truly over the limit. So I took off, went into the first available housing estate, parked on a random empty drive, jumped over the garden fence and hid in a bin. And I was in that bin for ages and ages until I thought it was safe and they'd have fucked off. That was coming back from dropping Zoe off. God, I'd forgotten about that as well. The things you remember. Oh, says Simon, carrying on one of his work-related anecdotes. There was a time when I made a cup of tea, and when I looked in the cupboard, there were no biscuits. He actually said there was no biscuits, but biscuits is a plural, so he should have used the word were. So I've corrected his grammar. Hope he doesn't mind. It's not authentic, but it is correct now. There were no biscuits. So I went to the shops where there were biscuits. I bought some biscuits and brought them home. Finn. You brought them home? Oh, are you not at work now? Oh, you're at home now. Or did that happen at work and you were looking for biscuits at work that you could steal and take home? It's an expensive bucket hat as worn by Bez. I don't know who Bez is. Or do I? Something to do with a pop combo called the Mondays. Happy Mondays. Fucking hell, Simon, what are you rattling on about? There was once a shop that sold out of bread, so I had to go to another shop that hadn't sold out of bread. I could then purchase bread. PWD not picking up dog doings. Well, isn't that a crime? That's technically a crime, isn't it? Isn't that? Oh no, maybe it's not. Does that count as littering? No, probably doesn't, because it's the dog that's done it, and the dog can't be held legally culpable. Yeah, absolutely, prod 'em. A great video for you and Mustard, says Skick, and welcome Skick. Take a trip to EPMA Motor Auctions in Ellesmere Port, Friday, Sunday and Monday. And Simon says, Skick, it's a good idea that. That is a good idea. Bernard lives in Ellesmere Port. We could kill two birds with one stone. Well, I could anyway. Interesting. A boxing ring is for boxing. So I suppose a cock ring is for cockfighting, says Matt. Right. Mustard, PWD, saying invite when offering an invitation. What, you mean like saying, here's an invite to my party, when what you should say, of course, is here's an invitation to my party. Yeah, prod 'em for that. But, Mustard, you, like Simon, being northern, you use the word was when it should be were, and you do it all the time. Now, that's not you making a mistake. That's just you talking in the local style. However, technically, it is grammatically incorrect. So if we're prodding people for saying invite instead of invitation, then you're going to be getting about 200 prods a day and prods on repeat when anybody plays one of your videos for the was/were shenanigans. So think on, young man. great bargains to be had at this place in Ellesmere Port. Well, don't fudging freeze your fudging wine, you fudger. I'm all in favour of going to Ellesmere Port. Home of Bernard. Didn't used to be home of Bernard. When I started my Bernarding, she lived in Ashbourne. And she moved to Ellesmere Port when she got married, when she married somebody else instead of me. That upset me. That upset me. I had one of her, I hadn't heard from her for a while, and then I had a phone call. I was at work saying, hello, how are you? I've got rid of my house. I've moved in with a man in Ellesmere Port. I think I'm pregnant and he's having an affair with somebody from work. And I sort of said, good luck with that, goodbye. And then I didn't hear from her for ages and ages and ages. And sometime later, when I was with Boo, and she never did social media, she didn't do Facebook or anything like that. And after that phone call, I never rang her, she never rang me, no messages, nothing. And then suddenly, out of the blue, she popped up on Instagram and followed me on Instagram. This is when I'm with Boo, a couple of years later. And that was followed by Facebook. And both Boo and I were friend requested. So I got to see the guy who she had turned me down for. And he was in his 60s, incredibly overweight, and you know, he might have been a lovely guy for all I know, but I just thought, what? That's what I got rejected in favour of. Fucking hell. Oh dear. Yeah, there you go. I like Aldi, says KKC. Special buys are great. Moswap, says Trace. Me, I work alone. I only had one Moswap, says KKC. It nearly ended in divorce. What, yours or hers? Mustard says, I wish I had some lady colleagues. Well, so do I, Mustard. My Monday trips would be much more interesting if you had a harem there on tap. Lady colleagues, that would be nice. I wish I had a lady colleague. I'd very much like a lady colleague. I like ladies. Not just for, I'm an old man now. All of that nonsense is well and truly behind me. But I just like ladies. I can't resist whore jokes after the horseradish mustard. Yeah, I know, but I could have got in trouble if I'd have read that one. I mean, it's a good idea, Matt. Oh, God almighty. Cheddar Road, eh? Who remembers Cheddar Road? My last Moswap, I'm married, says Trace. Oh, well done, you. Dogma, Alanis film. That's right, it was. She played God, I think. That's right, she did. I remember now. Alanis Morissette was talented, but a bit weird. Well, I'm not talented and I'm a bit weird. Would have been a good match. Good film, that. Mustard says Alanis was quite P. I'm guessing that's Podgeworthy. Yeah, I mean, you would, wouldn't you? You wouldn't think twice. Yeah. Is she a woman that you would do whether she'd washed or not? Are there people out there that you wouldn't care whether they'd washed? You'd just be on them because you couldn't wait. You were so absolutely overcome with instant biodegradable lust. 5 years' time, Nigel hosts the Oscars. Wouldn't surprise me. He's that sort of annoying guy, is Mustard. This is what Mike and I were talking about. He doesn't do anything that he's supposed to. And it's really frustrating if you know things that you're supposed to do and you tell him and he agrees with you and says, yeah, I really should do that. And then he just doesn't do them. There's always a reason why he doesn't do them. But he's the annoying sort of person that will do really well despite it. He'll do better than me. He'll do better than Mike. He'll do better than virtually everybody else. And it'll all happen by accident, just by him being himself, being long-haired and laid back and flopping his way through life, not doing anything properly, and he'll end up being enormously successful. I bet you. 5 years' time, come back here, Mustard will be a raving success. I mean, he's already doing it. Look at the shoulders he's rubbing with. Look at the people he's rubbing shoulders. Look at his shoulders and what and who they're rubbing. I mean, he's already hobnobbing with the rich and famous. Probably more the hobbing than the nobbing at the moment, but you know, who knows where that's going to lead, eh? 5 years' time, I'll still be here talking crap at you for £23 per month from Google AdSense, and he'll be living in the world's biggest kebab emporium, where he has many members of attractive female staff whose job is to bring him 3 kebabs a day, whether he needs them or not. Oh yeah, Beckett's Farm, I'm with you. Being a nurse and ex-midwife, says Liz, my anecdotes are best not put up in writing. Fun for anyone that wants to listen at car shows or social events though. I very much look forward to hearing them, Liz, and I'm very much looking forward to the Boaty's World Socials, which we need to crack on with very soon, because I want to meet you all, because you're all lovely, and I want to meet you, and I want to look you in the eye and thank you, or shake you by the hand, or hold you in a manly embrace. Oh yes. In a bin, we rolling rat. I was rolling, terrified of being done, because if it was the police from the other side, we didn't pay them, we didn't look after them. We looked after the ones from that side, and I could have been pulled by the wrong police. The happy carpets, yeah, that's the one. Sunday auction starts at 12:30. Cars from 200 quid. Oh, that's at Ellesmere Port. I'm not sure I'd want any woman who lives in Ellesmere Port, says John Maruzzi, or any car that came from the auction. Harsh. I mean, I can't speak for all of the women from Ellesmere Port, but Bernard's all right. You could do worse. I certainly have. Oh, Jimmy Quinn, bless him. The lovely Jimmy Quinn has sent a super chat, and that's really kind, Jimmy, and I really appreciate it. And thank you to, I should say this, that I'm about to get my first payday later this month, and so I've looked at the stats and everything, and if it wasn't for you amazing people who've sent super chats and super thanks and super duper what's-it, and all of you channel members, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be getting paid until about September, because the money that comes in from ads alone, you have to have 60 quid before they will pay you. And the money that coming in from ads, it'll be about September or December by the time I rocked up 60 quid. So it's only thanks to you guys and your generosity that means that I'm actually going to get a couple of bob this month. And it is only a couple of bob, but my God, it's going to help. It will buy me some gas or some petrol, or we'll put it, I mean, what I'd actually like to do with it is to put it towards sorting out socials and stuff like that, so that it's putting the money back into the community, or putting it into a community project or something, or I don't know, putting it into the cars that you can come and drive and film when we do these social meets. So Jimmy Quinn, thank you very much for that super chat. You're a legend. Don't go to Ellesmere Port, says Liz. Horrid place. I used to live there as a teenager. It's all right, isn't it? I mean, I've been there. I'm trying to think now. I've been there a few. Well, it's near to nice places, Liz. It is near. I mean, you're not far from Talica, and Talica's lovely. A hidden comment from Project Nigel. No, I don't, you twat. Again, I don't know what that's in relation to, mate. But there you go. He doesn't do it, and I'm a twat. There you go. Oh, Simon is saying thank you to Jimmy Quinn as well. I'm amazed that Cheshire didn't shove Ellesmere Port off into the Mersey. Oh dear. Not much love for Ellesmere Port, is there? Thank God I'm originally from Chester, says Liz. Oh, well, we spoke about this. I went on a date with Bernard to Chester. We didn't meet in Chester. I met her from work, wherever that was, and we went to... No, we did meet in Chester. That was it. It was the second date. This was immediately after Chinese Madam. I've worked out that Bernard is only interested in me when I'm with somebody. I think she's terrified of commitment or a relationship or something. And when I'm with somebody, she's all over me. When I'm actually available, not so keen. Not so keen. But we had a date in Chester, and I'd never been there before. And I need to go there again this year. I thought it was a fantastic place. Now, okay, I was with Bernard, so that made it fantastic. If you're my Facebook friend, you'll see photos from that night. And I just thought it was a wonderful place. We went to a couple of pubs, one by the river. We had a walk right around the town. It was incredibly romantic. And we ended up at the Grosvenor, which was a lovely, very nice hotel. And we had drinks and something to eat, and yeah, had a night in one of their lovely rooms. So yeah, I need to go back to Chester. It's a fabulous place. We should all go. Simon talking to Mustard. You know how I said you need to keep a spreadsheet of the names you use at the start of your vids? Boaty needs one for his anecdotes. Yeah. Yeah, so I can remember. It'd be a long spreadsheet. Have I done this anecdote before? Are you saying Boaty is repeating himself, Simon? I prefer her to Lisa Stanfield. Who? Are we back to talking about Alanis Morissette? I preferred Alanis Morissette to a lot of people. Now we're talking about, right, okay, another one, health review. Oh shit, I pressed the wrong doings. Yeah, I'm not reading that out, KKC. But yeah, that is a reference to a song off the Jagged Little Pill album. Can't remember what the song is called, but it's where she's berating her ex and saying that in various overly descriptive ways that she hopes her ex's new partner does all of the filthy and disgusting things to him that she used to, which made her sound like well, quite a girlfriend. Is he moaning that Project Nigel has more talent again? Yeah, I'm always moaning about that. Bit of a crap lunch, a date in Chesterfield. When was this? Oh no, a date in Chester, wrong suggestion. Well, it wasn't lunch, it was an evening thing. Paul Hollywood was a baker at the Grosvenor in Chester, was he? Is the restaurant in Clay Cross, says Liz. Which restaurant? Oh, our restaurant. There are two. One is in Clay Cross, the other one is in Ripley. I'm normally at the one in Ripley. The video that you saw was from the Ripley one, but yeah, we do have a Clay Cross one as well. Some believe I performed a pottering on Lisa Stansfield. Nepalese one. Yeah, one in Clay Cross, one in Ripley. Both us. Yeah, they believe that, Mustard. They believe that you potted Lisa Stansfield because you bloody well told them you had. That's why they believe that. And You look like the sort of chap who doesn't tell lies. And so naturally they believed you. Oh, Mike, thank you, mate. Oh, hello. Yeah, a super chat from the lovely Mike. Bless your heart, mate. Thank you very much. You'll get it back. I'll buy you lunch when I come down there or you come up here or whatever. You know, when you chat with somebody, you just think, oh, I've got to meet you. And Mustard likes him as well. And anybody that Mustard really likes, I know that I'm going to really like as well. But yeah, chatting with Mike this evening, we've definitely got to meet up, and we should video it as well. Turns out we've got quite a lot in common, and we think similarly about a lot of things. But anyway, the point is, he sent me £2, and I'm really grateful. Thank you very much. All goes in the pot. Did Lisa Stansfield come from Rochdale? The plot thickens. Yeah, she did. And when Mustard had a proper job, he told everybody that he'd humped her. And they all believed him. And it went round the office and everybody was pointing him, that's the one that humped Lisa Stansfield. Mike is a top chap. He's absolutely lovely. Oh God, he did make me laugh. And he's a food guy and a restaurant guy. And we should go into business together, Mike, because we've got exactly the same ideas and exactly the same way of doing things. Oh, God. In fact, me and Mike, we should become Mustard's management team, except he would have to do what he was told. There you go. When you get a little bit more famous, Mustard, you can afford to pay us. We'll be your management team. But no arsing about. You got to do what you're told. Well, actually, no, you haven't got to do what you're told, have you? Because you've got famous by doing your own thing, not by doing what. Tricky chaps' words when you get them in the wrong order. Yeah, that's how you would have got famous, by doing your own thing. So we would just manage you and look after your affairs while you carried on doing your own thing. And we'd just be frustrated by you in the background. Oh, PWD from Matt. People who remove the cherry from a cherry bakewell and throw it away. Do people do that? I wouldn't eat the cherry from a cherry bakewell, but I wouldn't throw it away. I would offer it. I wouldn't take it off. I would offer it to people in the street. I would stop people in the street and say, hello, I've just bought this cherry bakewell. I am highly desirous of consuming the cakey part, but the cherry part is not to my taste. It has been untouched by human hand, certainly by mine. Would you like the cherry off my cherry bakewell? And I would offer it to various people until somebody took it. My mate Rod, my semi-acquaintance Rod Gilbert, he and another semi-acquaintance from the Radio Wales days, as a result of a bet made during his live radio show on Radio Wales, which was from 11 till 1. After the show, went out in Swansea, bought 12 hot meat pies and went to the bus station and tried to give them away to win a bet. And he lost the bet. He couldn't give 12 hot meat pies away. It was him and I think it was Corky that day. I think it was Chris Corker and Corky. And yeah, they bought, I think it was 12 pies that they bought, and they just tried to give them away in Swansea, and they couldn't do it. You know, people for whatever reason, people didn't trust them. Oh dear. Oh, Stephen S. Paul is with us, jolly good. Harry Styles was born in Redditch. Did you potter him? No. And I don't actually know who Harry Styles is. Sorry, does that make me a bad person? And I didn't podger Rick Mail either. Wasn't he from Woodrow? We've spoken about this before, haven't we? The early Kevin Turvey videos were set in Redditch. Right. Now then. That's what I want. I just wanted to... My friend died this morning, Irish Tony. And he was back from the car dealer days. KKC, I presume that you know where I was. I presume you know the place. Well, if you remember, as you're looking at it, to the left of the showroom, there were metal gates and then there were units around the back. All of the units at the front were ours. But through the gates, there were separate units. And Irish had the one tucked right round in the corner. He was a bit like Mustard. He's a self-taught mechanic, and he would take on broken cars and he would mend them and he would sell them. I sold him a few cars myself. But he was he died, bless him, liver failure. Drinking was his favourite pastime. Closely followed by fighting. Oh God, not a man to cross. Now, I loved Irish. And I never ever got on the wrong side of him, nor vice versa. Thank God. He was not a man to get on the wrong side of. I was talking about this earlier with Mustard. He had two settings. He had I love you to bits and I'd do anything for you, which he absolutely would. He was one of those hard cases who just had a heart as big as a house. You just didn't want to cross him. And his only other setting was, I want to cut your head off. And I mean, literally, he had this fucking great machete. And his immediate answer to anybody who crossed him was to try and cut the head off. But he didn't often have this machete with him for very obvious reasons. So sometimes he just had to try and kill people with his bare hands. God almighty, you wouldn't want to get into a fight with him. You really, really wouldn't. Loveliest, you know the sort of guy I mean. Lovely, but not a man to cross. And he came out with one of my favourite phrases ever. He had a wife who he loved very, very much. Cherished her. But I was down at, you'll know this, KKC. I was down at Arrow Auctions one night, but not the car auctions on whatever night that was. Do you know, when Arrow Auctions got started, we got them started. They had no cars going through. And we used to send loads of our cars down so they could just run them through. So at least they looked as if they were a busy auction. And then when they did become genuinely busy, then Jeremy, who was our guy there, Jeremy got all sniffy, and when we tried to put cars in, no, we're too busy, no, I don't want to help you out, no, I don't want. And it's like, you fucking cheeky sod, we kept you bastard well going when you were starting out. But anyway, I was at the other auction, which just used to be all kinds of household stuff, bankrupt stock. And Irish was there. And he was buying this like cheapo furniture. And he didn't buy cheapo stuff. You know, his house was like a bloody palace. And I said, what the fuck are you buying that for, Tom? He said, I've invested in a static caravan, he said, with a wink, for recreational purposes. And, you know, I knew exactly what he meant, of course. And that just tickled me, and it stuck with me from that day to this. But, yeah, I, again, just like bloody last Monday, was it last Monday? Was it only last Monday? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Woke up to a message from Dean, my ex-colleague, partner, loads of stories to tell about Dean, who I love to bits, and for some reason we never end up. There'll be great swages of time where we end up not being in touch because we're both lousy at stuff, and because he's still down in Redditch or near Redditch and I'm up here, it doesn't happen. But we work really well together. Anyway, woke up to a message from him to say that Irish had died. So yeah, there we are, another one of the old school gone. So raise a glass to my old mate, and that'll be another funeral coming up, which is sad, but it's also a chance to catch up with people. Auto auctions are still there. Oh, are they? Let's just catch up with some comments and then it'll be time to bugger off, I suppose. Skick says, now you and Mustard are getting more popular, you should invest in some interesting videos. Right, so our current videos are presumably not interesting, and we should invest in some... what do you mean, specifically? You mean we should invest some time and money into doing something other than just standing around in the yard or eating lunch or driving to the Milkston Road? If that's what you mean, then I agree with you. And plans are afoot to do exactly what you are suggesting. Where was the unit, Boaty? Not sure I knew him. Sorry for your loss. Thank you. The unit was up in Portway. So heading out towards Beckett's Farm. Before the motorway island, you've gone past Beeley Garage on your left hand side. You've then got the filter lane going left to Portway that then rejoins later on, and just as the filter lane rejoins, then you've got the place on the left hand side. That's where we were, next door to Rob, Kirby Commercials, and then Tony was through the gates in the units round the back, just before the Portway Italian restaurant and the, oh, what was the pub called? What was the pub called? Was it Rose and Crown? Can't remember, but you'll know it. Matt says, are you saying that you've got some interesting videos for us to invest in? Any OPWAP content? Does sound a bit dodgy. How do you get in the caravan? Oh, I say. Oh, wine. Did he freeze the wine? I've frozen the wine. The wine is frozen. Not completely frozen, it's a bit slushy. But that means that I can get rid of these ice cubes, which are a bit of an eyesore and a wrong in some ways. Put my dirty big fingers in there. Let's have a nice bit of cold wine and toast Tony. And, oh shit. Oh, the turtle's head popped out. Oh, that was a waste, wasn't it? Oh dear. No. Ah, there we are. There we are. Right, now, I am planning to restart the live streams, my love. But I am going to have to force myself. It's not your fault. I'm not blaming you. It's me. But I am going to have to be more on time. Oh, right. Yeah, I'm going to have to be more stern and harsh with myself on times. Because I don't want to stop doing them, but I can't rattle on for 2 hours every night. I'm sure you don't want me to either. Must get bored. Oh, Portway, that's a big unit. The Portway Italian was fantastic. Oh, the site is derelict now, is it? Right. I wonder who owns it now. It used to be, oh no, it's next door, isn't it? That, what's his name? The Kellys. Jimmy Kelly's place, wasn't it? I think. that was next door. But yeah, Portway was a big unit. We had capacity for about 300 cars. Yeah, because we had showrooms, then the garage forecourty bit, and then the double auction hall on the left-hand side. Are you going to have a schedule for live streams? Ideally, right, in theory, if I could limit myself to just doing short ones, then ideally I would like to do Sunday through to Thursday at 11 o'clock and just not do Friday and Saturday. But in order to do that, I would have to be super rigid on times. I did see your post, and I get that other people want to do them for their own channels and wouldn't want to clash. But would anybody else want to do them as late as I do mine? I can't imagine so. So, you know, just grab the audience early. Anybody, do your lives. Well, do them on a Friday and Saturday night when I'm not doing them. Well, do them when you want. I can't tell you when and what and where and yeah, the Ken Dodd of streams. Yeah, absolutely. If you put the wine in the freezer sideways, would the ice form slower? I do put it in sideways. Wouldn't fit in otherwise. Oh, save Bella. Yeah. Nobody's come forward to take Bella on, which means that we're going to have to do it. So tomorrow I will get in touch with the lovely chap who offered to collect her and store her, and then we're going to have to raise some money to pay him to do it. You know, he's offered to do it at very reasonable rates, but you know, we're still going to have to pay him something, cover his expenses, and you know, pay him something for his time. So that will be the starting point. So yeah, we need to sort that. Defo do Tuesday. I love going from mustards to yours. It's like being let out from class to the playground that's being supervised by the insane PE teacher. Yeah, right. Now, I can't find the farty one, so I'm going to play you back out with the same one that I played you in with. But yeah, I'd like to do, in an ideal world, I love doing these. I absolutely love doing them, and I've really missed not doing them. But I have valued the time that it, oh, I'm not reading that out, Skick. I'm not reading that out. Yeah, please like this video. Thanks, Mustard. Yeah, if I can rein myself in time-wise, then in an ideal world, I would love to do Sunday through to Thursday, because I love having this. I love having this constant contact with you guys. I think it's great, and I think it works really well for the building community thing, and I think it works really well for you guys getting into each other and checking out each other's channels and everybody driving each other forward. So that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to have to keep them shorter. Monday night can be a longer one because Tuesday is kind of like a day off for me, or the closest thing I get to a day off. So I don't mind waffling on a bit on a Monday night. Other nights it's going to have to be a bit shorter. Tomorrow won't be a day off because I've got to edit this damn Fiat 500 video. I'm hoping that it's going to be one of my more successful videos, and I'm really hoping that you guys are all going to like Steve and want to see more of him, because I want to do more stuff with Steve. He's up for it. I really hope that that you guys like him. I can't imagine why you wouldn't. You can expect a couple of videos. You can expect the road test and review where I drive, well, we both drive a 1965 Fiat 500F called Luigi, with no synchromesh on any gears, virtually no brakes, and it is of course a ridiculously small car, and we are two ridiculously large men. I'm 6'5", my friend Steve is 6'7", and there will also be a video. I'm trying to come up with a clever name for it. It's yeah, I'm trying to come up with a. It's kind of us doing lunch, a bit like me and Mustard, except he didn't have lunch, he just had a drink because he got up really late and he'd only just had breakfast. But obviously I don't want to call it Steve and Boaty do lunch, because that's mine and Mustard's thing. But it is a really worthwhile thing. He's got some great stories to tell, and I hope you'll enjoy hearing it. So I was thinking about calling it, what do you think about this? I was thinking about calling it Tall Tales. Because that's a phrase, isn't it? Tall tales, which means exaggerated tales, which ours aren't. You know, they're just completely true anecdotes. But we are two tall people. Or tall tales over lunch, something like that. And if Mustard joins us, which I hope he will, then despite appearing to be a midget, Mustard is actually a tall person. So we could still call it Tall Tales. Same would go for Matt. Who is a little bit taller than me, I think. Yeah, so you've got those videos to come. I've got to edit the Fiat 500. I'm scared about editing the Fiat 500 one because I'm sure that there's a really good video in there, and I'm scared of buggering it up with inexpert or rushed editing. So I'm going to try and do a decent job on it, because it could be a really good video for me and an enjoyable video for you to watch. Maybe it won't be. Maybe I've, maybe I'm reading too much into the bits of footage that I've looked at. Maybe it will be, oh, Sky High. Yeah, Sky High. That's not a bad idea. Keep the ideas coming. We've got tomorrow to think about it. It's a lunch type video of Steve and I talking together, and we're both tall people, and we're not going to call it Boaty and Steve do lunch or anything other that's a rip-off of the Mustard and Boaty thing, because that is our thing and our brand. So you've got that to go. Oh, that's a rather nice thing to say. Boaty, you could be really popular on YouTube. I think you have real potential. That's very kind. I will try and live up to your beliefs. And I will try to be really big on YouTube. I'd like to be really big on YouTube. I'd like to be bigger than Hubnut. I would love that. And I would use my YouTube power for good. Good for me anyway. Oh, good for all of us. So, yeah, I'm buggering off. I'm going to bugger off, my loves. Thank you for your company. Do tune in at 10 o'clock tomorrow night for Mustard's live stream. Do give him your support. I'm sure he'll wear it regularly and gratefully. I trust you'll give him your support. See what I did there? Trust, support. Oh, please yourselves. You're getting this for nothing. What are you complaining about? And I will be doing, I can announce, a post-Mustard live stream. Probably won't be a long one. And Mustard's getting into the live streams now, and he's really enjoying them, and he's finding them addictive. So he might go on until 1 o'clock just to spite me. so that I end up having a really late one, which I don't mind. Oh, and then on Wednesday, I'm going to see the MGF man, I think. So anyway, there you go. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for, thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for liking this video, which I hope you have, or hope you will, or, oh, shut up, Boaty, and bugger off, will you?
Mr. George,
Mr. Roger Boaty, Mr. George Roger Boaty, Mr. Roger Boaty, Mr. George Roger Boaty. Cheers, everybody. Oh, that's nice.
Mr. George Roger Boaty. Mr. Roger Boaty, Mr. George Roger Boaty, Mr. Roger Boaty, Mr. George Roger Boaty. Name's Roger Boaty. Mr. George Roger Boaty.
Of course it is, George. Good night, my loves. You stay safe, stay warm, take good care. See you tomorrow. Good night.